Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. I just noticed my overlay turned off. Let me get that back on again for the first leg of the flight. We are where we left off in Oshawa, Ontario, just east of Toronto. And we are flying from here down to Dunkirk in the US, but we're going to be flying over Hamilton and down over Niagara Falls again and heading out that way. So let me get the overlay back up. There we go. And our call sign of Husky 2 or 32. Yeah, this is a big chopper. It's one I've been in a couple times, of course in the back. Flying as passenger, but it's one of my favorites, which is why we are cruising along in this series. So let me pull up my checklist here, and we will get the pre-start checks underway. All right, we're on board. I'll turn on the pad here. We'll get the pedal covers off, and we'll get ourselves over to the doors page. So the flight engineer and loadmaster are out doing their walk-arounds and get everything ready to go. I'm going to pop up to the overhead here. We're making sure the EAPS engine fans are off, external lighting. We will, as per normal, we're just going to crank these up to the dim position to add a little bit of definition on the panels. We'll get this one here and then the two below. And for the external lights, we'll turn on the top and bottom anti-collision lights. We'll leave them in normal mode. And it is daytime, so we'll make them bright. Co-pilot lights are set as required. Compass is slaved. Troop warning switches are off. Heaters are off. Working our way down. Crossfeed switch is closed. All fuel pumps are off. Start switch is off. Condition levers are in stop for both engines. And our switch is set to 100%. Pry prev switches are set to pry. Backup power is off and load sharing is set to torque. Internal lighting is all set up as we want. Pilot's lighting is good. Anti-ice is off. Hoist switches are all off. It's default set to tandem and all, so that is good. The emergency release switches are off and are guarded. Hydraulic transfers are off. Hydraulic flight control switches are off. Coming down here to here, the fire pull handles are in. Let's get that back. VGI switch is set to normal. The cyclic trim switches are set to auto, and the AFCS switch is set to off. All right, with that done, we can come over here and power up the helicopter. So back up once again to the overhead. Battery is going to come on. We're going to come down here, run the caution test, and all lights show up. Back up top, we're going to turn the APU switch to run, and we're going to start the APU. There she is. Doesn't take long to get up to speed, and she's cranking now, and we can see that by the start switch has gone back to the run position. So we're going to turn on the APU generators. Hydraulic transfer switches are coming on. Parking brake lever is confirmed and set. Engine levers are both in the stop position. Fans for the EAPS are coming on. And the troop warning switch will let them know we're about to start. There we go. So once again, you would have the loadmaster out in the back, making sure everything is good there, and out front you would have the flight engineer monitoring the start. All right, so for the start, left main Fuel pumps are coming on. Crossfeed is coming on. Engine 1 condition lever is going to ground. And engine 1 start lever is coming on. I'm going to come down here, monitor for 10% on the engine 1 N1. I'm going to do a fuel check here, 58.97 pounds of fuel for today's flight. And there we go, 10% on the N1, start switch will come off. Now we're going to come down and monitor oil pressure above 5 psi, which it is. And we're watching for 50% N1 within 45 seconds of engine start. And there's 50%. We are good. So we're going to come up here to engine number 2, set that to ground. And we're going to do the same thing for engine 2 over to the start. Oil pressure starting to come up. N1 starting to rise. So we're above 7%, or 5%. There's our N1 above 50%, so starter will come off. Back down for monitoring. Yeah, we're looking for 45 seconds to get up to 50% on the N1. And we're going to check our oil transmission pressure, and as you can see, we have above 7 psi, so we are good there, and that is good for both. Alright, so with that done, we can pop up top. Engines are going to go into flight mode. Engine generators for 1 and 2 are going to come on. APU generator is going to come off. Hydraulic transfer will come off. And the APU will shut down. Alright. So she's coming up to speed. Hey, Kevin. Everything's warming up nicely. So she finishes coming up. We're going to turn on the aft auxiliary fuel pumps, the right side mains, and the forward auxiliary fuel pumps. So that's all fuel pumps on. She's just coming up to finish her warm-ups. Everything is looking good. So we're going to pop down to... get it here. No, I don't think there's a switch there for it. So we'll use this one. We're going to come down here. We're going to select our elapsed time, number 1, and we're going to start our timer. And there we go. So the automatic flight control system switch is going to go to both. So both pilot and co-pilot are active. Power steering is locked. We'll come down here to the radio. We're going to go 122.8. That's set. Now we'll pop down now to the what's the best view? Transponder. That's probably the best one. It'll go to TARA, and we're going to set in our Fly UK code, and that is now set. So today's flight's going to take us down following Lake Ontario again, and we will head out to follow along over Toronto down towards Hamilton, and then along the south shore of Lake Ontario to our first stop, which is going to be Grimsby. All right. We're pretty much ready to go, so we're going to get the guys in the back. We'll get the slide closed and get the ramp into the level position. And we are good to go. One final check on the weather before we do head out. We'll just make sure we got the barrel. 2992 standard pressure. It's 23 degrees currently and a little bit of a wind out of the northwest. So we'll pop down. 2992 is all good and set. All right. Manual brakes and are set, and parking brake is off. And we're facing in a westward direction, so we're just going to take off straight ahead. Coming up on the power. And again, we're going to go to 1,000 feet, and then we will be cruising. Actually, before we do, since we know we're going to be going in a westward direction, I'm just going to get that heading bug kind of over that way. All right, let's go flying. A little bit of back pressure, since she does tend to come off the ground nose down and wants to fly forward a little bit. There we go. Oh! Looks like Wayne's here. That'd be really cool if I could just hook onto him and pick him up. Anyway, let's get out of here. I'm sure I'll be following along shortly. Get that nose going forward. And again, we're going to turn off, head a little bit more southwards down to the lake. Bit of a haze out today, as you can see. Good to see you, Wayne. Actually, good to see you at the beginning of a stream. We usually catch you part way through. So this is the town of Oshawa where we're flying over. We're heading down towards the lake. And then we'll continue along the lake towards the city of Toronto. Starting to get some warm weather here. Get these doors all closed up now. Starting to get some warm weather out here, so haze is coming in. We had some thunderstorm bands roll through overnight. A lot of lightning and thunder overnight. We're going to head down to the lake now. And there's the Highway 401, the main east-west highway here in Canada that we're rolling past. We're going up to about that 1,000-foot mark. And there's the lake. So we're now over the town of Whitby, located here, and we're going to quickly fly through Ajax. That's coming up. That's pretty good. We'll keep the altitude there. So we're coming across Ajax here. Grown together a bit over the years. Still a little bit of division through parks and green spaces, but like most places, becoming part of that continuous continuous loop of civilization. Coming up ahead of us, we have the nuclear power plant that powers this area. The Pickering Nuclear Power Station. Is located right where we're flying over now. We're going to follow the coastline down past the harbor here in Pickering. A little bit of a stutter there. So this area we're going down here is what's called the Golden Horseshoe. Basically extends from Oshawa all the way down to the bottom of the lake here, the end of the lake, the western end in Hamilton, and comes around the other side up towards St. Catharines and the U.S. border. It's highly popular. I think about 60% of Canada's population live in this area. It's fairly high. So we are now crossing over into the city of Toronto proper. Now the city of Toronto was an amalgamation of what were 6 former separate cities. This is the area I grew up in out here in Scarborough. You can see the cliffs here along the lake. They're known as the Scarborough Bluffs. So this area is elevated and above lake level, which creates nice views out, nice cliffs out over the city, looking out over the water. It does suffer from erosion, so there are some houses down here that don't exist anymore, and there's some that had huge backyards that don't have that anymore as it crumbles away. As you can see how close some of these places are here. Up ahead you can see the little outcropping there. That's the Bluffers Park. It's a natural park and marina. Lots of boats here come in. There's the natural harbor. You got houseboats docked in here. So you'll find them all down in this area. This was about a 30-minute walk from where I grew up, which was kind of back up that way. Now we're just continuing down the coastline here. You see the city coming in and out of the mist there, the haze. Yeah, Kevin's been living in the fatherland for a while now. Alright, as you can see, Toronto's a very green city. Lots of parks, lots of trees. And you can really see that from the air when you fly over top. And you can even see it downtown if you go up to CN Tower for lunch or something like that. You get a look down upon it. You can see just how green it actually is. So we're now into the old city of Toronto, the main downtown part, coming in towards the city. You can see the big buildup of high-rises. You can see the CN Tower. We're going to fly south of the tower and over the Sky Dome, and we'll see the famous Toronto City Centre Airport, which is located on the water here. These islands, some of them were natural, some of them man-made, but they've created a wonderful inner harbor here. Lots of yacht clubs, there's houses over here. Pretty good, except for this is a pretty industrial area we're coming up on now. Commissioner Street area here, some port stuff, water treatment, all that type of good stuff. Be a lot nicer in the winter with the clean air you can see for miles, but a little bit of hesitation as stuff loads in. You can see the smoke coming out of the stack there. There is scenery loading in down here, so it's causing a little bit. Always work going on, new buildings, stuff going in. There's one of the main highways coming in. This is the Don River. Highway runs up into the north end of the city. But here we are coming into the harbor area. Some ships in here. We got condos right down on the water. Businesses, industrial buildings, commercial buildings, the whole works. There's the downtown core. Rail lines running right through there, kind of cutting off the parts of the city. There's where the Toronto Maple Leafs play, Scotiabank Place. There's the Sky Dome, home of the Blue Jays. CN Tower. That old railroad turn house is now a brewery. And on the other side there's the City Centre Airport, where Porter currently flies the Q400s out of. You can see it down there. That's the downtown core we've just flown over. This is the old Ontario Place area. It's supposed to be under renovations, but they really haven't done anything there for quite a while. That's where the Toronto Football Club play. That stadium there. Toronto is a native word for meeting place. So that's where that name comes from. Not sure which language it's in. Again, you can see how much green space is here. This is High Park. Big green space there. And this is the well, it's still here. It's the Gardiner Expressway running out, and then we've got a bunch of condos. We're now entering the old town of Etobicoke. That's the Humber River. A bunch of new condos here, all kinds of stuff along the lake. Looking good. And of course, the Toronto International Airport's off in that direction, up to the north. just going to lower my view slightly. There we go. So we're just going to follow along here as we fly through the southern part of Etobicoke, or what's now the western part, southwestern part of Toronto. And lots of rail lines. As you got everything from freight lines to regional transit to national rail running through here. Airport's up that way. I can just make it out. You probably can't see it with all the compression and everything. We're just following the coast of the lake here. So right now I'm not using the heading bug. I'm just manhandling it left and right and letting the barrel autopilot, the barrel altitude hold, just hold her at this altitude as we rock back and forth. Let it make the corrections. Seems to be the easiest way to fly this thing. Alright, so we're now coming into the next city, or the golf courses there. The next city, which is Mississauga. I can hear an engine around me. That's downtown Mississauga. Up there, that big cluster of condos and buildings there. If we come in here and take a look around. Yep, there's Wayne. Coming in behind. Let me just try to get this thing balanced. You can drop the ramp at the back. And go for a look. There he is. Looking very nice. Back up front here. Alright, so Mississauga is another one of those native words that is used as a place name. I believe it's named after a tribe of natives that were here, the Mississauga Indians. If I remember right. Anyway, we're getting down here to the town of Oakville. That's coming up ahead of us. And what you also have down here is the... Just trying to see where we are coming up. Right, oh, there it is. I'll fly up to it. It's the Ford assembly plant. If you remember when we flew down towards Oshawa on the last one, we passed the GM assembly plant. Well, this one coming up here ahead of us, that is the Ford assembly plant. As we're flying in here. Is. And if you look down, you can see all the cars down there. It's another one of the highways coming down, meeting up with the Queen Elizabeth Way here, which runs down around the lake, back on the south side, and heads towards Niagara Falls. Let me just lock this in place for a second. So it's the Queen Elizabeth Way. Running down here as we fly through Oakville. Again, these towns all line the lake. Once you get to the north there, it turns into farm country. Of course, we're using track IR to look around in the helicopter here. I always find in helicopters it's good to be able to move your head like this. We'll just fly along the QEW here. Driven this road many, many times. Alright. And we're coming up to a main road called Burloak, which is the Burlington-Oakville boundary. And now we're now crossing into Burlington. Actually, it's this one coming up. Yeah, I've heard that one, Wayne. So you can see how much green space is out here. And again, we're just we're in between cities here, and it's pretty green. If you look off in the distance there, you may be able to see the edge of the Niagara Escarpment. So that's a ridge that runs from Niagara Falls all the way up to the southern side of the lake. Runs up here, and if you remember our flights up north of Brampton, Mississauga, up towards Tobermory, we had the Niagara Escarpment running all the way up there. So it's quite the feature that that you can see. Fortunately, I'm way slower than Wayne is, so he's got to entertain himself. So we're well down towards Burlington. What we're going to do is, instead of going right down to the bottom tip of the lake there, we're going to cut across the Burlington Bridge. That's the way most people go down. If we followed this along, it would head off, eventually you'd end up out towards Windsor and London and all that stuff, out in that southwestern Ontario side of the house. But if you follow this around here, the QEW continues across the bridge, which we can see ahead of us here, and we carry on the south side of the lake. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come around here. And we're going to fly over. When I used to do the air show flying for the museum, we used to cross the lake here at the bridge because we always had to be within gliding distance of land, and those airplanes had a glide ratio of a brick, so we couldn't go too far from water. So our touchdown spot was basically on the roads, not the main highway with the bridge, but little secondary roads off to the side. But we're going to cross over. This is the Burlington Skyway. They actually close it when it gets too windy. They've had issues with trucks and stuff. We're going to fly over the Skyway here. There's the pass-through for shipping. As you come in here, this is the Hamilton steel industry, so a lot of raw materials making steel and stuff down here. Sorry, Molly just came in and laid down beside me. If you come down here at night, you can see the big stacks with the fire coming out of them and everything. But this is Hamilton, town of. And up on the other side of the escarpment, which you can kind of see forming that ridge there, maybe, is the Hamilton Airport. And that's where the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum is. And the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum is where the 2nd Flying Lancaster is located, along with other aircraft, Spitfire, B-25, all kinds of stuff. So that's Hamilton's over there. This is the town of Stony Creek we're coming up to. Stony Creek is, again, another small suburb of Hamilton. And for the history buffs in the audience, Stony Creek is the furthest that the Americans got during their invasion from New York State, when they came from the west and then crossed the border and pushed this way into Canada during the War of 1812. This is the, it's somewhere, one of these roads just around this area here is the farthest they got before they were repulsed and pushed back. So the Grimsby airport we're heading to is up on the higher ground here, and you can see the escarpment now. We're going to fly over top of the escarpment as we head towards Grimsby. It's only about 8 miles away. We're going to kind of head in that direction now. And this ridge here, the escarpment, runs all the way down to Niagara. And the Niagara wine region is on the low ground down in Niagara Falls. And it takes the warm air off the lake, and the warm air bounces off of the escarpment and drops some moisture down. And that's apparently part of the reason why the Niagara wine region is so good for growing grape and wine. That you can see it there. It's a few hundred feet. I mean, it's not a minor feature here. You can now see it if you look at the land shift here. This was formed because Lake Ontario used to be a lot higher. This used to be the shoreline up here, and that was the drop off, and then the water level dropped. There's actually 4 or 5 of these ridges when you come up out of the city of Toronto that you can see, and they were all boundaries for where the lake used to sit. Of course, that goes back for thousands of years for that process to occur. Alright, so we're coming up to Grimsby. We're only a few miles away. We're going to come back in, take manual control. I'm going to start slowing down. This is Grimsby Airport we're going into. I have not flown into this airport in real life, although I have driven past it a few times. Just looking for it. Yeah, we get the wind coming out of the west, so we're going to kind of come around and try to land into the wind. I think the runways are running north-south here. Oh, there she is, pretty much directly ahead of us. There's the airport right there. Alright, let's see if we can get this thing down here. go to the right side of the mast here. And a little bit forward. Alright, so we're here at Grimsby, Charlie November Zulu 8, if you want to join us for the last leg for today. As we overfly Niagara Falls, you are more than welcome to. Just going to put her down. We're at 12 feet. Arrest our forward motion. Bring ground effect. Tail wheels are down, and we're down. There we go. So we'll get the back door down, we'll get the guys out. And here we are. I'm not sure where Wayne got to. Not sure if he's going to bother trying to land here. Good land. We got a slight breeze out of the north. Alright, let's go to our load. And I'm going to take a Humvee with us. So if we take a look inside the cover, there's our Humvee, and they're all strapped in. Good and ready to go. So while we're here, we will update our overhead. And we are heading to Dunkirk Airport down in, I believe it's in Ohio? I think it's over the border of Pennsylvania. So that's now in. We got 42 miles to go, but we are going to take a bit of a roundabout route, and we are going to head down and take a look at Niagara Falls again. Alright, so let's get everybody on board. We can close that, bring that up, close the doors at the back. And we are good to go. So parking brake off, brakes are on, bringing up the power, rubber light on the wheels. Let me ease the power off for a second. I just got to do Navigraph, forgot about that, so let me update Navigraph with the next section here. All right, we're good. Power coming up. There we go. Nose coming off. Bit of back pressure. We'll move out to the runway. There's a crazy Spitfire pilot. Well, he's up. Alright, let's go take a look at Niagara Falls. Better day today than it was when we went through before, when it was all stormy. Alright, so let's get the nose facing north into the wind. There we go. And away we go. So the town of Grimsby is just ahead, down over the water, or by the water. We're still kind of up over the escarpment here. Hesitation there. Alright, so there's Grimsby appearing over the escarpment. There she is. So once again, here's the QEW, Queen Elizabeth Way. We're now following the south side of the lake. Then we're going to go down, we'll come down the Niagara River, across the falls, and then circle down along the north side of, or sorry, the south side of Lake Erie. Since we did the north side last time, we're kind of doing a figure eight. Just trying to watch for my left-right balance here, see how my trims are working. A lot of farm country out here, a lot of wineries. There's even a rye distillery down here. That Spitfire Escort back there. Alright, good landmark down here. I'm not sure if it's in here, but there's a crashed ship right about there. You come up here and it's kind of a landmark as to where you are. We're approaching the town of St. Catharines. did a lot of customs clearance out of here, heading back from the U.S., especially if it was during the daytime, regular business hours. We could clear customs here. And we did that quite a bit. See the QEW there running down towards the Niagara area. I hear them. We'll go overfly the St. Catharines Airport. And then it's just a few short miles until we hit the U.S. border. And of course the Niagara River, of which the border runs down the center of it. So here's the town of St. Catharines coming up. Again, we're on the south side of Lake, well, you can see Lake Erie off in the distance, south side of Lake Ontario. And it is the, not quite the easternmost city down here, but, oh, there's Wayne Flying Formation. But it's probably the biggest one down here. Also coming up is the Welland Canal. You can see over there the entry point into it. The two spits of land leading outwards. And here's the canal, and this canal will take you from Lake Ontario level to Lake Erie level, which of course Lake Erie is higher. Oh, there's the airport. A couple different runways, including one, a long one. They do sightseeing flights out of here. They run down to the wine areas, the wineries. They'll fly over the falls, do all kinds of stuff like that. But there is St. Catharines Airport, and that is the second airport when I did my cross country when I was learning to fly. Flew down around the end of the lake and came over here. And you can see the escarpment off in the distance there. So we're going to be coming up to the Niagara River shortly, and that is the border, the boundary between the US and Canada. Up in that corner with Lake Ontario, and that is a little place called Niagara-on-the-Lake. And a gorgeous place, beautiful small town, very expensive to live in, or to buy property. It's a little town of Virgil. And little communities down here. Lovely weather in here in the spring and summer. They do have the problem of the winter weather because Lake Ontario, which you can see out there, blocks a lot of the storm and pushes it south and keeps it over here. So there tends to be a high amount of snow and rain that hits down here. Anyway, there's Niagara-on-the-Lake coming up. And we can see the entry into the Niagara River. And on the other side is the United States of America. A couple guys flying around up there to the north. But we're going to make the turn here. And we'll swing around. And we'll follow the river down. Once again, the weather is better than we did it a couple of flights ago when we were in the storms and everything. There's Niagara on the lake. Looking very nice, and there's the Niagara River. A few little communities here, some boats. You can be safe on the river, or you can head out into the lake. Of course, that Niagara escarpment is part of what causes the drop at the Niagara Falls. And that has worked its way back. Actually, the ground here is very soft and it wears quickly. So Niagara Falls used to actually be up here. Oops, looks like we've gotten a little out of whack here. Let's get her back under control. I think I was a little too tight in that turn. We'll get her down to 1,000 feet. But yeah, it used to be down here, and it's worked its way back through the soft rock over the years, centuries, millennium. That should be pretty good there. Bring her kind of level. Go on barrel hold again. Once again, we're flying down the river here, going the opposite direction this time. And there's the first of the bridge crossings. There's the Lewiston Bridge, I think that's this one. There's the Peace Bridge, the Rainbow Bridge, I think those are the two in Niagara Falls itself, and then there's another one on the other side. A couple power generators here, hydroelectric. One on the American side, one on the Canadian side. And there's the gorge that's been carved out by the river. This is add-on scenery as well down here in Niagara. There's some added buildings and things that you can find in the rivers and boats and stuff like that, including this place with the red roof up ahead. It has a helicopter landing area you can use. There's a bunch of added in landing sites. If we look down over there, you can see it there. You can use that landing pad if you want to fly in the area here. Circle around here. There, you can see it there. Good landmark here right at the corner of the river and the basin here. That's Great Wolf Lodge, big water park. Bring the kids, all kinds of stuff you can do there. Here's another of the bridges you can go across. And we looked at that before. It's a rail bridge and a road bridge. And we have, of course, the bridge here. Which you can fly under. There's the observation platform on the American side, jet boat loading area. You can see some of the boats for touring around. Looks like Wayne's going swimming. And this all lights up at night. There's the casinos. This used to be a power plant along the edge here as well. And there's the American Falls over there, and then the famous Horseshoe Falls ahead. And all the buildings and everything laid out there. All right. So we're gonna head off now on our way. Looks like we got a couple glitches here. Radio antenna sticking out of nowhere. We're gonna head down towards Lake Erie now, and then we'll follow that along. Little drop right. Oh, you can see the things actually going up and down and dropping. That's pretty cool. Alright, so we're basically flying down. We're on the Canadian side again. Still, there's the river over there with the border. We're going to head towards Fort Erie. That's where we'll loop around to the other side of Lake Erie and pick it up on the south side. One of the big islands there in the river, though the river actually forks around it. Towns and communities here as we head down again. There's the Queen Elizabeth Way, runs all the way down to Fort Erie, and that's where it ends, pretty much at the border crossing. will cross as well. So we're almost an hour into the flight. We're looking good. Helicopter's flowing very nicely. I haven't seen if there's been an update this week. Haven't read about a reason why there would be. Everything seems to be okay. I do like the startup procedure. It's a lot smoother, works better. Fuel valves are working properly now. Makes it a very nice aircraft to fly. So there's the final border crossing here, the fourth one, down here. Fort Erie Bridge. This is one if you're heading south of the lakes, you kind of cross here, and then you head due south, try to pick up the interstate down through Pennsylvania. You can see the customs plaza and everything there. And there's the plaza on the other side. So, welcome to the U.S. There's Lake Erie. And we're going to follow this around and follow the south side of the lake. Now we're in New York still. That is going to change. Just around the other side of the lake, it turns into Ohio, because you've got Cleveland on the south side of Lake Erie, places like that. See all the industrial buildings here along the shoreline, commercial shipping concerns. Wayne's still back there. Very good. So this is Buffalo, New York. On this side, you get all the little places around there, Cheektowaga and all that stuff, but mainly Buffalo. If you want the general name of the town, city. Remember growing up, one of the few stations we got on TV was out of here, Channel 7 in Buffalo. And you used to hear about all the fires, and you got to hear all the different names of the places, Cheektowaga, Tonawanda, Orchard Park, and all that stuff. You hear 3-alarm fire in Tonawanda tonight. It's kind of a bit of a running joke. Of course, that's a couple years ago. Alright, we're just over an hour in. We're just about to start along the south side of Lake Erie here. Lake Erie, by the way, the shallowest of the Great Lakes. I believe the average depth is only 30 feet. There's places in Lake Superior that are almost 2,000 feet deep. So it just gives you an idea of the range. And again, we'll just follow the coastline down since the airport we're going to is fairly near the coast. Baseball diamond down there. 25 miles out from the airport, and we're now heading more or less directly to it. If you look down there, you can start to see the terrain start to roll with the hills, so that's getting into the Pocono Mountains down in Pennsylvania, and some of the Alleghenies from eastern New York. All that type of hillage starts to come into effect. Then you get those beautiful windy rolly hills, little valleys with communities in it, which make driving through that southern New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland area so great. You see just how big these lakes are. Humongous. So next week we'll be streaming Monday and Tuesday. After that, I am heading down to Las Vegas for Flight Sim Expo 24, and won't be streaming again until the Tuesday the following week. So it'll be a little bit of a break, but hopefully I can get some information about what's going on with the Sims. Although we do have a date now for Flight Sim 2024, when that's supposed to be released. 19 November, apparently. But I was watching Blue Gaming, and he had an interesting point he brought up, where they came out and Microsoft said that third-party software will be easily flipped over to FS24. Yada yada yada. And then Bluebird Simulations, who I think are bringing the 757 out, have said that they're only going to bring it out for 2020, and then they will work on it to make it compatible with 2024. So it's like, well, why are we hearing one thing from Microsoft saying, oh yeah, everything will be compatible, and then you got an actual aircraft maker saying, yeah, no, it won't be compatible, and there's work we have to do on it. So a little bit disconcerting. So clarity on that will be required. That's the one, the next plane that they're releasing at the beginning of July, right? I mean, I'll ask them. They're going to be there. I've got a few questions for them. So, town of Angola coming up here on the left, right over there, as we are trucking along. 16 miles out from the airport now. Next little community coming up here at this corner is Lake Erie Beach. We're 14 miles out. I think the guys can start dropping the doors open up so they can get ready to guide us in. Wayne's still back there in his Spitfire. This is Lake Erie Beach. We're now cruising over. Very nice little community. Next up will be Silver Creek. And then the airport's actually just kind of like straight shot on from there. So once we hit Silver Creek, we'll start slowing down, getting ready to come in. Looking at the airport, looks like the aprons are at the far end on the north side of runway 24. And we're going to be flying down runway 24. I'll be attempting to fly down runway 24. It is the longest runway, and winds here, let's just look at the weather, currently 270 at 8, so runway 24 is the one we're going to be shooting for. Silver Creek, the airport is on the south side of the railroad tracks. There's the railroad tracks coming in on the left. Autopilot off. Start slowing her up a little bit. We're down to 800 feet. We're over the town of Silver Creek. I can see the airport ahead. So we're just going to slowly slow her down and start bringing her down. Tracks over there. See the tracks coming in. We're basically gonna follow the tracks in, and then the runway will be just to the left of the tracks, but I can see it ahead. We're coming in 700 feet. Trying to get her back to about 100 knots. Following the railroad tracks, and then we'll make the final little adjustment turn to line up on the runway. It's 500 feet. Wayne. It's 80 knots. We'll do the full land and taxi on this one. We haven't done that in a bit. Four reds, don't care, we're a helicopter. zoom in over the trees, doing helicopter things. We don't want to touch down going too fast. Obviously, we want to be down in the 20 knot range. It's down to 50. How was that? Speed coming back. It's 25 knots. 150 feet. Zero my trims. We'll bring her down. Ground effect is gonna keep me up a little bit. Keep her moving. Well, we're down. Alright, with us down, we're going to come up here, we're going to turn on the power steering pumps and release the rear wheels. And then there we go. So we'll add a little bit of power, we'll get her moving. And we're going to head down to the apron at the far end. .6,000-foot runway. Everything's down at the far end. That's fine. We can play airplane here. Just gotta watch our speed when we do this. We don't want to flip her over. We'll pop outside when we come out the other taxiway here. Look. Again, basically the way you add power to this thing to get her moving is you push forward on the cyclic, and that pushes the rotors forward to give you forward momentum. There, chugging along. Looking good. There's supposed to be hangars down here, but I'm not seeing anything. She's rear wheel steering, and the input slope is kind of on a curve, so you don't get a lot of movement for the first half of your inputs, and then it kind of builds on there. So we're going to cross runway 33 here. Head up toward the apron. Hey, Molly. Molly's up and looking about. Time to run her downstairs. I'm sure a hover taxi would be quicker, but this is what it is. All right, let's not roll it over. All right, we'll leave room for Wayne. Put her right in here. There we go. All right, brakes are on. Hey, Willie. All right, let's get the door all the way down. We'll get the slide out. We'll get the crew out. We'll turn off track IR. Oh, it's good having Wayne along for the entire flight as our escort. And we are ready to start our shutdown. All right, so we're going to lock the swivel. Had it there. There we go. And then we will turn off the power steering pumps. And we will guard that. And now we're ready for engine shutdown. So flight controls are neutralized. Parking brake lever is set. Heater switch is off. We never turned it on. AFCS switch is now off. Come up, start the APU. Wait for that switch to run. And APU generator is on. Generators for engines 1 and 2 are now off. Hydraulic transfer pumps are on. Condition levers are both going to ground. Cross-feed switch is closed. And all fuel pumps coming off. Engine condition levers are both going to go into the stop position. FADEC backup power switch, oops, I never turned that on, is now off. The APU generator will come off. APU is off. Transfer switches will come off. That's all off. We're good there. Those fans will come off. Off, and battery is off. Oh, really, Wayne? Yeah. Hopefully they get that fixed. I remember that's happened before with other versions. Willie, we had the Chinook for many, many years, and then we got rid of them. And then when Afghanistan hit in the mid-2000s, we suddenly realized, hey, we shouldn't have gotten rid of them. And we ended up buying a couple dozen of them from, I think, the Dutch Air Force. So we're back flying them again. But we were flying the Chinooks in the late 60s, early 70s. But yeah, it sounds really cool. And it's fun to fly. It is definitely fun to fly. Anyway, Willie, thanks for dropping by. Wayne, thanks for flying with us. Kevin, Nick, good seeing you guys. And Nick, we'll see you in a couple weeks in person. Hope you all do well. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And we will see you back here on Monday for the next leg on our circumnavigation of the Great Lakes. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.